Well, hey, thanks so much for joining us for another episode of Unfiltered Generations. I'm Channing Curtis.
And I'm Dr. Dee Curtis.
And today, once again, we have a lot to talk about. We have to talk about all of this that has been coming out with this new audio of President Joe Biden just showing how much his cognitive decline really was in those last couple of years in the White House. But before we get to that, we have to talk about a few other lighter things as well. One thing, of course, it's the NBA playoffs right now. And Mom, you and I are both really big NBA fans. I just wanted to get your take. What do you think about the NBA playoffs so far?
You know, since they did all of this to my Luka, I just cannot be that concerned about the NBA or their playoffs, because had they left my Luka in Dallas, Dallas would have been in the playoffs and somebody else would not have been. And so who that somebody else would have been, I'm not going to say. I really don't know. But the only thing I do say is that I am kind of excited about the teams that's left in the Eastern Conference and Western Conference finals. I'm excited to watch Oklahoma City play. Who are they playing? The Timberwolves. I think that will be a good series.
Yeah.
I'm also excited to see the Knicks, although you know how I feel about the Knicks. Yeah. I'm excited to see them play Rick Carlisle because I do like Brunson. And so I think that's got to be kind of good. And I normally don't pull for the Knicks, but I'm going to be kind of ambivalent about that. I will pull for Brunson, but then part of me will also pull for Rick Carlisle. So I'm kind of excited.
I'm just excited to see some different teams in there this year. I'm glad to see kind of like a changing of the guard and stop seeing like the same 4 or 5 teams in the mix. Although I will firmly forever believe that if the Mavericks had left Luka alone, the Mavericks would have won this year. There's no doubt in my mind they would have been the best team by far. Luka, Kyrie, Clay on that court, no question. Nobody could have taken them. Nobody in this playoff series could have.
No, and if they had left Luka there with Kyrie and Gafford and Lively and PJ, and then once they added Najee, and if they had left Grimes, none of the teams that I've seen so far do I think could have beat that team. I think the NBA did a major disservice to their fans by moving Luka when they did. I think that was just tragic. It was
Actually, I was reading a headline today on Instagram from D Magazine. If you're not in the Dallas area, D Magazine is a huge magazine publication out in the Dallas area. And they were talking about how the Luka trade has actually impacted some of the restaurants down there in Victory Plaza around where the Mavericks play, down by the American Airlines Center. And they were talking about how just drastically business has dropped for all of those restaurants, those bars, all of the different restaurants and everything that serve that area. And I can definitely understand it, because when the Mavericks, when they traded Luka, you don't really have a reason to go down there anymore. It just kind of took the heart out of the whole fandom.
Well, you know, I've watched the Mavericks now for over 20 years. I was a great Dirk fan. I was JJ Barea, even Jason Kidd, all of them. And they don't understand that this is something I think that happened with a new owner and even a new general manager. They don't understand fandom. They didn't understand. Luka was my joy. I can watch the Mavericks, and I watched the Mavericks when Luka didn't play. But I enjoyed watching Luka because he's so special. And that's the one thing. And I know now they said, well, you're going to get Cooper Flag. I was like, you know, it's just like a parent. They said, well, you know, if you take away one child, then you still have another child. Like they say, what is it that they call in the royal families? You have the
heir and the spare.
The heir and the spare. The spare still is not the heir. And that's the way I look at it. And I'm sorry, it's nothing to say about it. I don't really know anything about Cooper Flag. But
now listen.
Now, I know he's good, I've heard, but just think about it. With Luka, we raised him over years. Luka didn't start off the way he was this time last year. That's not the person that we got at 18. And I'm sure with Cooper, I might feel differently 5 years from now, but it will not change the fact that I think that the NBA, and I'm going to say the NBA, because you know that I feel that they were extremely involved in it. I don't care what they say. I think the NBA made a huge error in moving Luka when they did. Now, if they had moved him 2 years from now, 3 years from now, when this contract was over, that's a different thing. But to move him in what was probably his first championship year, I think they will find out was a huge business mistake, because what they did, not only did they ruin the Mavericks, but the Lakers aren't there either. So they did all of that for nothing.
Exactly. Anyway. Nothing and no one will ever convince me that they
me
didn't have a hand in this, because it was just too convenient. All of a sudden you do this Luka trade. It doesn't benefit either team this year. And then just kind of as the payoff for the Mavericks, they get the #1 overall pick all of a sudden when they had a 1.8% chance. Give me a break.
Yeah, my business background is too great to believe that businesses do things by happenstance. No, they plan and plot everything. So no, I'm smart.
No, definitely not. Now, I'll say Cooper Flag is good. He's very good. And if the Mavericks actually end up drafting him and keeping him for a long time, he will be very beneficial to the team. But just like everybody else, it's going to take years. Luka, if they had left him alone, probably would have won this year. And that's the difference.
Right. Yeah. And maybe for the next few years, he probably would have won 2 or 3 in the next few years. But as it stands, I mean, the Mavericks, as they are, they were a really good, a great team.
Yeah.
And then, I keep saying that Kyrie probably wouldn't have gotten injured. I'm not a doctor, but Kyrie wouldn't have had to play 40 minutes. He didn't play 40 minutes a game when Luka was there.
Absolutely.
And so therefore, he probably would not have sustained that level of injury. And like I said, I'm not a doctor. I'm not pretending. I'm not a physical doctor. I'm not pretending to be. But anyway, I think the NBA, and I'm going to go on record for saying that I think they were I think they made a mistake. It was a huge business mistake, and one that they will see going into the future.